Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome to North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I'm Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team, bringing you today's feature event. It's the U.S. Racing League Legends Car A-Main from North Wilkesboro. This is a good field today, the average I rating over 2,100. This is race number 2 of the 5th season, scheduled for 65 laps at historic North Wilkesboro Speedway. Let's have a look at today's starting lineup. Starting in the 15th spot is car number 11, Jared Epker. Just to his outside will be Scott Crane in the 88. Next cars in line will be the 57 of Jim Love, and to his outside, that's the 38 car of Fish Fisher. Fisher typically runs car 61. Next row forward would be the 96 of Brandon Herzing. To his outside, the 15 of Caleb Gillick. Next row, the 21 of Mike Matherly. To his outside, that is the 27 of Riley Goodwin. The 16 of Nathaniel Spomer, and to his outside, that's car number 12, Blake Crane. In the 51 will be John Jones. Just outside there will be Jed Cotterman. Cotterman, a member of the Cotterman iRacing team. The next row in line will be the 98 of Quentin Nuttall and the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. And on the front row will be the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck on the pole, and to his outside, the 00 of Aaron Johnson. Should be a great race today. We expect a lot of action at North Wilkesboro. Fiddler-Hadesbeck is on the pole with Johnson, Sabilo, Nuttall, Jones, Cotterman, Crane, Spomer, Goodwin, and Matherly making up the top 10. Excellent field tonight. 19 cars expected to take the green for what should be 65 laps of outstanding action at North Wilkesboro. The current point leader, Eric Steele, did not make the grid. Steele is not here today, so the points will be shaken up as Eric Steele is not on the speedway. Keegan Sabilo currently in the second spot in the points. So Sabilo, a car to watch as we are getting ready to get underway at North Wilkesboro. Pace car leading the field. North Wilkesboro, the site of the Holly Farms 400, a historic NASCAR speedway, outstanding track for racing these Legends cars. Fiddler-Hadesbeck in the 63 was fast all day, was fast in practice, was fast in qualifying, and starts on the pole. As we are ready to take the green, the pace car is in. A nice tight start by the drivers in the USRL. Hadesbeck takes the green. Johnson to his outside. Just behind them, it's Sabilo and Nuttall. As Hadesbeck drives deep into turn number 1, Keegan Sabilo getting by the 00 of Johnson. Johnson slips up the racetrack, almost gets the outside wall. Aaron Johnson drops back to third. And caution is on the speedway. We have caution early in the race. Didn't complete a lap before the caution came out. Let's have a look and see if we can figure out what happened to bring out caution number 1 at North Wilkesboro. That's the 96 of Herzing. Looks like he just got in a little deeper than Matherly. Maybe Matherly got off the throttle a little early, but Brandon Herzing catching the 21 right in the backside on the start. That turns Matherly around. Both those cars go to the back as we are under caution at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck was the fastest car on the speedway in practice. Practice speeds were outstanding at North Wilkesboro. Hadesbeck was quickest. Stephen Light was second, with Keegan Sabilo third, Spomer fourth, and Johnson fifth in practice. Now, we don't know how that will translate to the race. Racing is quite a bit different. You know, practice laps and race laps under race conditions. Track will change as the day goes on. Hard to determine exactly what we might expect. We are 4 laps into a 65 lap event. Fiddler-Hadesbeck holds the lead. Sabilo second. Johnson in the bright orange, fast orange 00 car third. Lights are still on the pace car. Keegan Sabilo on the outside here, a regular in the Tyler Daniels Racing League of Legends. Sabilo, a relative newcomer, has made his mark with multiple victories in the last 2 seasons. Cars are aligned side by side. Hadesbeck on the pole, Sabilo to his outside, then Johnson and Nuttall in the second row. Jones and Cotterman in the third row, with the 12 of Blake Crane and the 16 of Nathaniel Spomer in the fourth row. The field looks good. Pace car is in. Expect Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck to start the field. He does. Gets a nice quick start. Catches Sabilo and Johnson napping. Riley Hadesbeck out front quickly as we see Quentin Nuttall jump to the outside of the 00 car. It's Nuttall on the outside. John Jones looking inside. They were 3 wide coming out of the turn. Let's hop in and watch with that 00 car as they were racing hard for position. Johnson gets around. Something happened. Johnson spins. Aaron Johnson gets around sideways. Looked like he and Nuttall maybe touched a little bit, but Johnson is in the back now out front. It is the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck with Sabilo in second, Nuttall third, Jones fourth, Cotterman in the fifth spot with Spomer, Crane, Goodwin, Love, and Gillick rounding out the top 10. Johnson has dropped all the way back to 15th after running third. A little incidental contact and some hard racing there. Johnson ended up going around out front. It's the 63. We are 8 laps into a 65-lap event as we see Keegan Sabilo looking to the inside as they come off a turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Sabilo will make the pass. That'll drop Fiddler-Hadesbeck to second. Quentin Nuttall closing in. Nuttall in the third spot, trying to make a move on the 63. Behind them, John Jones in the Woody, that sort of 34-4 Woody number 51, running in the fourth spot. Sabilo with the lead, then the 63 and 98 following with the 51 of Jones right there. Those 4 cars beginning to pull away slightly from the 7 of Jed Cotterman. Cotterman running 5th, trying to chase this group down. Behind Cotterman, it's Spomer, Crane, Blake Crane, Goodwin, Love, and Gillick, the top 10, as we see the 98 of Nuttall get to the inside of the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Down the front straightaway now, the 51 of Jones looks to the inside of the 98. They come into turn number 2, and then out onto the back straightaway. Sabilo leads. Nuttall in the second spot. Jones looking to the inside of the 63. Jones will try to make the pass for third. We are 11 laps in. They come off of 4 onto the front straightaway, and it is Keegan Sabilo with the lead. Let's hop in with the leader as Sabilo leads. Quentin Nuttall looks to the inside. It's Sabilo, Nuttall, Jones, then the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Cotterman is closed in on this lead group. Sabilo running a low line. Nuttall coming in from the high side, then sweeping through the corner, looks to the outside of the 77. Tries to make a move here. He does have some position as they go into turn number 2, now out onto the back straightaway. Out of 2 onto the back straight. Sabilo leads, Nuttall in the second spot, the 51 of Jones running third as Sabilo and Nuttall battle for position off of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Cotterman is closed in on this group. The 51 is to the inside of the 98. Doesn't quite have enough to get it done. Now looks to the high side. John Jones pushing hard to try to find his way around the 98 of Quentin Nuttall. They're down the front straightaway. Jones on the outside, Nuttall on the inside. Sabilo with the lead as the 51 and 98 battle side by side. Out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway, Nuttall holds on to the second position. They come into turn number 1. Nuttall on the inside, the 51 of Jones on the outside. Hadesbeck with a bird's eye view of the battle between the 51 and 98. Down the back straight. Jones into turn number 3, comes down ever so slightly, looks to the inside, looks to the outside. Nuttall on the throttle as they come off of turn number 4, side by side at the start-finish line. It'll be the 51 leading. They come into turn number 1. Nuttall coming back on the inside. Jones on the outside. Out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. 2 cars side by side. It looks like the 51 may have completed the pass. He comes down to the inside, now trying to close on the 77. Nuttall looks to the high side as Fiddler-Hadesbeck also takes a peek. Cotterman watching these 3 cars battle. Quentin Nuttall comes back on the outside. They come into turn. Oh, they touch. Nuttall goes around. I don't know if Nuttall realized he hadn't cleared the 51, but Quentin Nuttall will go around. That will likely bring out a caution. Quentin Nuttall went around after contact between the 98 and the 51. This will bring out the second caution of the race. Let's have another look. at the contact between Jones and Nuttall. It just looks like they barely touch. I don't think, maybe Quentin Nuttall's spotter told him he was clear when he wasn't. Then Nuttall got collected. Everyone scatters to go by. Fortunate that that wasn't worse when there's contact between the front runners. Keegan Sabilo holds on to the lead. We are 18 laps into a 71-lap event. Sabilo is your leader, followed by the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck, then Cotterman in the third spot. Blake Crane running fourth. Riley Goodwin has moved up to fifth with Jared Epker sixth, Jim Love seventh, Scott Crane in the eighth spot, Brandon Herzing ninth, and Mike Matherly in 10th. Caleb Gillick sits in the 11th spot with Aaron Johnson in 12th, Fish Fisher in 13th, Jones in the 14th position. Sorry, he's dropped back to 15th now. Looks like Jones may be taking an EOL. He will drop to the end of the line. Spomer in the 14th spot. Nuttall moves up actually now to the 14th spot with Spomer 15th, Jones 16th. Benjamin Richards in the 17th position with Stephen Light 18th and Mark Breer running in the 19th spot. 19 cars entered. Right now it is Keegan Sabilo with the lead, followed by Fiddler-Hadesbeck to his outside. Second row will be Cotterman and Crane. Third row, Goodwin and Epker. Fourth row, Love and Scott Crane. And the fifth row, Herzing and Mike Matherly. Those the top 10. As we are under caution, 20 laps into a 65-lap event. Second caution of the day for incidental contact between the 98 of Nuttall and the 51 of John Jones. Lights are off on the pace car. The field down the back straightaway. A nice tight start between the drivers in the U.S. Racing League weekly series for the Legends cars. Lights are off. Pace car should enter the pits this time by. The pace car is in. Sabilo on the throttle, gets a nice start. He takes the first position ahead of the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck of the 7 of Cotterman looking to the inside, trying to get past that purple and white 63. Off of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. Cotterman with the lead. Sabilo with the lead. Cotterman looking to the inside of the 63. Doesn't quite have enough. 63 hard off the corner down the front straightaway, using the momentum to try to hang on to that second spot. Let's hop in and watch this battle for second, as we see some excitement on the speedway. Cotterman continues to work to the inside of the 63. Then the 27 of Goodwin closing in on this pair. The 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck to the high side. Looks like Cotterman maybe is going to be able to complete the pass as they come into the turn. Into turn 2 now, onto the back straightaway. Cotterman trying to pull past, but the high line is a fast way around when it comes to maintaining the momentum of these Legends cars. Cotterman goes into turn number 3, the 63 driving in on the outside. Jed Cotterman coming off of turn 4 onto the front straightaway, slides up. He's going to make the pass on the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Meanwhile, the 27 of Goodwin and the 12 of Blake Crane battling for the fourth spot. Crane looks to the outside of the 27. They come down the front straightaway. They touch. Wow, that looked like net code. I didn't see an actual contact there. Looked like net code between those two drivers. It looks like Sabilo continues to lead. As we watch Cotterman and the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck battle for that second spot out front. It is the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. Let's have a look at how they run on the speedway. Sabilo is out front, the second position. Jed Cotterman in third. That's the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Next car on the speedway is the 12 of Blake Crane. Crane currently in the fourth spot. Then behind Crane, that's the 11 of Jared Epker. Epker making a nice run to the front here at North Wilkesboro. Behind Epker, the next car on the speedway, the 21 of Mike Matherly, and look who's back. Aaron Johnson has moved back into the 8th spot after an early spin. Behind Johnson, next car on the speedway is the 98 of Nuttall. Nuttall also working his way through the field, as is the 51 of Jones. Those three cars all victims of incidents earlier in the race. Behind those three, it's the 88 of Scott Crane. Crane currently in the 11th spot. Then the next car on the speedway is the 16 of Nathaniel Spomer. Behind Spomer, running side by side, that's the 38 of Fisher and the 15 of Gillick. Gillick currently being shown in the 14th spot. Behind those two, it's the 57 of Jim Love. Love currently in 15th. Then behind Love, the next car on the speedway will be the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo pulling away from the rest of the field. He's opened up a bit of a gap between himself and the second place car of Jed Cotterman. Cotterman about 1.2 seconds back as the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck continues to battle with Cotterman for the second spot. Sabilo with the lead. Cotterman in second, Hadesbeck third, Crane fourth, Riley Goodwin fifth, Epker sixth, Matherly seventh, Aaron Johnson in the 8th spot, with Quentin Nuttall ninth and John Jones rounding out the top 10. Keegan Sabilo holding on to the lead at North Wilkesboro. Sabilo into the turn. Looks like he's got a nice, smooth race car as he comes out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. We are 32 laps in to a 65-lap event, and Keegan Sabilo is setting the pace. He has been the class of the field so far. Keegan Sabilo, the familiar 77 off of turn number 4. We are 33 laps in. Let's hop in with car number 7, Cotterman, as Cotterman is battling with the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Cotterman finally starting to put a little distance between himself and the 63. Aaron Johnson closing in on Riley Goodwin. Let's jump in with Johnson and see if he can make some moves. Johnson was running third, got together with Nuttall, looked like a little bit of a net code issue, no big deal. Johnson to the back, he's working on the 27 of Riley Goodwin. Johnson looks to the inside as they come out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. Johnson gets position on the 27, goes past as they come into turn 3. Johnson making the pass on the 27 of Goodwin. That moves Aaron Johnson back into the 6th space as he looks to close back in on those leaders. Goodwin looks back to the inside of Johnson. Almost get together. Johnson kind of closes the door a bit there. That might have seemed a little rude. Johnson a little bit quicker, but Goodwin making a nice move to try to get back underneath the 00. Johnson out of turn number 4 onto the back straightaway, closing in on the 11 of Epker. Meanwhile, the 77 of Sabilo is pulling away Keegan Sabilo, the class of the field, as Cotterman battles with the 63. Those cars side by side again. Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck and Cotterman running side by side as they come off of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Cotterman makes the pass. Hadesbeck doesn't quite have enough car to get past Cotterman on the outside. Jed Cotterman holding that lower line as Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck tries to find his way around. Blake Crane is in the 4th spot. Behind those two drivers, it's the 11 of Jared Epker. Let's have a look at Epker. Epker in the familiar red, white, and blue car number 11. Running in the 5th spot, Aaron Johnson trying to close in, but Jared Epker doing a nice job. He holds about a 4-car length advantage over the bright orange 00 of Johnson. Let's go back out front. It's Keegan Sabilo with the lead. Sabilo opening up a huge gap between himself and the 2nd place car of Jed Cotterman. Sabilo comes off of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. The lead over 2 seconds now between Sabilo and Cotterman. We are 40 laps into a 71-lap event. Cotterman holds on to the lead. Let's take one more look at how they run on the speedway. Out front, it is the 77 of Cotterman. The next car on the track is the 77 of Sabilo. Goodness, I'm really struggling with names tonight. So Sabilo with the lead, 7 of Cotterman in second. Behind Cotterman, that's the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck. He runs third. Behind Fiddler-Hadesbeck, that's the 12 of Blake Crane. Crane currently in the 4th spot. Then behind Crane, that is Jared Epker in 5th, with Aaron Johnson following up in 6th. Behind Johnson, that's the 51 of John Jones. Jones currently in the 7th position. Behind Jones, the next car on the speedway is the 27 of Riley Goodwin. Goodwin currently running 8th. Behind Goodwin, it's Mike Matherly in the 21, Matherly in the 9th spot, with Quentin Nuttall running in 10th. Behind Nuttall, that's the 88 of Scott Crane. Crane currently sits in 11th, with 16 of Nathaniel Spomer in 12th. Behind Spomer, that's Fisher in car 38. He shows up as 61 on your telemetry, but he is 38 on the screen. Behind Fisher, the next car, oh, looks like Nuttall's gone around. Let's go back to Fisher. Behind Fisher, Fisher now looks to the inside of the 88. The next car behind Fisher is the 57 of Love. Love currently running in the 13th spot. Then Caleb Gillick in car number 15 running in 14th. Behind Gillick, we're back around to the leader. That's the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo leads. Fiddler-Hadesbeck is running in second. Now it looks like Cotterman is maybe making the pass again as these two cars have battled side by side, lap after lap. Fiddler-Hadesbeck on the outside, Cotterman on the inside. Those two drivers really putting on a show as we see Aaron Johnson taking a peek to the inside of the 11 of Jared Epker. Johnson into turn number 1, now through the center of turn 3, now through the center of 3 and 4, onto the front straight. Johnson gets loose. Boy, nearly loses that race car as Epker runs up high. Johnson has to fall back in line. Aaron Johnson almost goes around as he tries to make his way around the 11 of Jared Epker to move into the top 5 in the U.S. Racing League. Johnson taking another peek. Jared Epker running a nice race today. Smooth driver, nice smooth line. They come out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Johnson about a car length and a half behind the 11 of Jared Epker. These two drivers closing on the third place runner, Crane. Johnson looking to the inside one more time. They come off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Johnson half a car length back, goes into 3 a little bit higher, backs off, trying to work his way around. Johnson setting up the pass here. Looks like he's trying to make his way around on corner exit to try to be underneath the 11 as he goes into the next turn. Johnson one more time trying to work his way under the 11. He gets underneath the 11 as they come out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Johnson looking to the inside, drives deep into turn number 3, tries to make the slide move work. Epker comes back on the outside. Johnson will pull up in front of the 11 of Jared Epker. Epker looks back to the inside and tries to make the pass. Epker now looking to the inside of the 00. Johnson drives deep into the corner. He comes out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Out of 2 onto the back straightaway. Johnson hanging on, trying to close now on the third place car of Blake Crane. Out front, it's still, the fourth place car of Crane. Out front, it's still the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo pulling away from the rest of the field. He now holds a lead of well over 3 seconds to the second place car of Jed Cotterman. Cotterman has been battling side by side with the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Hadesbeck now behind Cotterman. Those two cars running second and third. The next car on the speedway is the 12 of Blake Crane. He's currently 4th as Johnson tries to close in. Johnson in the 5th spot trying to make his way around Blake Crane in car number 12. We'll keep our eyes on the 7 and the 63 as it looks like Jed Cotterman's finally starting to pull away from the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Behind them, Johnson has closed in on the 12 of Crane. Let's have a look at Blake Crane. Crane running a nice race today. Moves into the 4th spot. Blake Crane doing a nice job in car number 12. They come off of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Aaron Johnson has closed in. Johnson, remember, shuffled all the way back to 14th after a spin, has worked his way back to the front. Johnson in 5th, trying to find his way around the 12 of Blake Crane. Johnson looking to the inside. Crane stays way up high, tries to give Johnson plenty of room. Now comes off of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Aaron Johnson has moved into the 4th spot out front. It is still the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. Johnson has been on the move, but no one has anything right now for the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. 12 laps to go in this 65-lap feature. Keegan Sabilo with the lead. He comes down the front straightaway, rolls into turn number 1. Sabilo running a nice smooth race, taking that low line, letting the car drift up high and along the wall as he comes down the back straightaway. Keegan Sabilo with the lead, followed by Cotterman, Fiddler-Hadesbeck, Johnson, and Crane with Jared Epker in the 6th spot. John Jones running 7th. Nathaniel Spomer running 8th. Fisher running 9th. And Mike Matherly rounding out the top 10. Little internet latency issue. That seems to be a recurring theme, especially when iRacing has heavy usage. It was a big problem during the 24 hours of Daytona. This may well have been a local internet connection as Sabilo smacks the outside wall. Keegan Sabilo really pushing that car, not taking it easy with that 3.5-second lead. Sabilo driving hard as he comes down the back straightaway. We have 9 laps to go. I know the telemetry says 15, but it is 9 laps to go. Sabilo with the lead, Cotterman second, Fiddler-Hadesbeck third, Johnson in the 4th spot. Keegan Sabilo has run an outstanding race all day. He's been quick. He's been smooth. He holds about a 2.8-second lead over Jed Cotterman with Fiddler-Hadesbeck in 3rd, Johnson 4th, Crane, that would be Blake Crane in the 5th spot, although it looks like he's given up a position to the 11 of Jared Epker. Let's have a look. And indeed, Epker and Crane battling for position, and there's John Jones. Jones also closing in on this pair. Jones very nearly getting to the apron as Epker goes by the 12 of Crane. Epker and Crane battling side by side. Jared Epker on the low side, Crane coming back on the outside. Car slides just a bit in the center of the corner. Epker's going to make the pass. Jones very nearly gets the 12 of Crane. These guys racing hard for position. This is the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Looks like Jared Epker is going to hang on to the 5th spot as he goes past the 12 of Blake Crane. The 51 of Jones looking back to the inside of the 12 of Blake Crane. Jones trying to make his way past. Looks like he's going to do a little slide job here. Gets past the 12 of Blake Crane. The 11 of Epker running now in the 5th spot with Jones in 6th, Blake Crane 7th, Nathaniel Spomer in 8th, Fisher 9th, and Matherly rounding out the top 10. Out front, it is all Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo with a huge lead, although Cotterman is closing slightly. Cotterman has cut that from a 3.2-second lead to about 2.7 seconds. Fiddler-Hadesbeck is in the 3rd spot, Johnson running 4th. Those 4 cars, then Epker in 5th, Jones 6th, Crane 7th, Spomer 8th, Fisher 9th, Matherly in 10th. 14 cars on the lead lap as Quentin Nuttall, Brandon Herzig have retired from the event, as has Benjamin Richards, Mark Breer, and Stephen Light. Keegan Sabilo with the lead. 3 laps to go. Sabilo leading, Cotterman 2nd, Fiddler-Hadesbeck 3rd, Johnson 4th. All 3 of those cars closing as caution is out. Caution on the speedway. We'll have to take a look and see what has resulted in a caution. We were 2 laps from the end of this 65-lap event. It will be extended as caution is out. Let's have a look at what brought out caution number 3 at North Wilkesboro. Looks like Matherly just got up against the outside wall and tagged Jim Love in the right rear, put Love in the outside wall as well. That couldn't tell what the 3rd car was there that was bouncing around. But 3 cars involved. Looked like that might have been the 88 of Crane that was also involved. Out front, Sabilo is into the pits. Cotterman's in the pits. Fiddler-Hadesbeck is in the pits. Johnson stays out. Johnson on old tires is going to be a sitting duck if no one else stayed out. He's going to need a buffer between himself and the rest of the cars on the field. Aaron Johnson will be your leader, but for how long? As Johnson chooses to stay out on old tires with the rest of the leaders taking new rubber, Johnson's going to be in deep trouble. Looks like Fisher stayed out. Also looks like the 11 of Jared Epker either stayed out or only pitted for fuel. The first car on new tires will be the 4th place car of Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo on new tires, Johnson on old tires, Epker on old tires, Fisher on old tires. How is this going to work out for the 00 of Aaron Johnson as he chooses to stay out on old tires? Johnson spun early, his incidental contact, ended up going to the back, worked his way back to the front, ended up in the 4th spot. Now trying to figure out how to hold on for a victory here on old rubber, as Johnson, Fisher, and Epker will be running old tires. Sabilo on brand new tires will have a huge advantage. The question is, will Johnson be able to maintain for a green-white checkered? Aaron Johnson, car 00, finished 4th last week at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Eric Steele was the victor there. Steele not in the field tonight. Epker finishing in the 3rd spot. Sabilo finishing 2nd. So 3 of the top 4 finishers from last week are in the top 4 this week. How will it shake out? We have the lights off on the pace car. Should be getting the green flag next time by. Johnson leads. Fisher is to his outside. Jared Epker is behind Johnson. Those 3 cars on old tires, then Sabilo on new ones. Lights are back on the pace car. Caution has been extended. There's been a lineup issue. So the caution has been extended as we try to get the field properly lined up to restart this race at North Wilkesboro. We will have a green-white checkered. Johnson on the inside of the front row, Fisher to his outside. Second row, Epker, Sabilo. Third row, Fiddler-Hadesbeck, Spomer. Fourth row, Blake Crane and John Jones. With the fifth row, Jed Cotterman and Riley Goodwin. Goodwin being shown a lap down. 9 cars on the lead lap. Cotterman, the last one of those. Pace car leads the field through 3 and 4. Pace car is in. Johnson gets a good jump. Aaron Johnson hammers the throttle, gets a nice jump as they come off a turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Fisher to his outside. Epker looks to the inside as well. Boy, does a 77 of Sabilo drives in a mile deep. New tires cure all ills. Johnson goes ahead and moves down to give Sabilo the high side. Aaron Johnson trying to protect the inside. There is no way Johnson's going to hold off a charging Keegan Sabilo. Johnson slides up, now turns back down. The 11 of Epker spins. Johnson looks to the inside. The 16 of Spomer on the outside. Spomer's going to go by on the high side. The 51 of Jones gets into the backside of Johnson. Johnson in the third spot. Here comes the 63 of Fiddler-Hadesbeck out front. It's the 77 of Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo with the lead, and Sabilo's going to take the win, followed by the 16 of Nathaniel Spomer, then the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck. Johnson will come home fourth. He was running fourth when the caution came out. He will finish fourth. Blake Crane will be fifth with Jed Cotterman in the sixth spot. Fisher will come home seventh, John Jones eighth, and Jared Epker rounding out the ninth position. Those cars all on the lead lap. Quite a race as we see the 77, the 16, and the 63, your top 3, lining up on the front straightaway. We are going to try to get some in-car interviews done. Let's have a listen for an interview between Johnson, who is also the broadcaster for this race, and your top 3 finishers, starting with the 63 of Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck.
Hey, Riley, this is Aaron Johnson up in the booth. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the decision to take tires there at the end and what it was like to try to run down those of us that were on old tires with 2 laps to go.
Well, the decision lied on the leader pitting. I wasn't gonna if he didn't. And yeah, those lap cars or the cars without tires were hard to pass. That's for sure. I got stuck behind 2, and Keegan got behind 1. I got held up, but tried to make the best of it.
So you were fast in the qualifying. You were really quick in practice. How did that translate to the race? Did you feel like you were holding up a little bit? Were you able to save tires, or were you running pretty much flat out to keep up with the leaders?
I was holding back for the most part, kind of just watching my surroundings, kind of taking my time.
So do you, other than iRacing, do you race at all, or are you a race fan? Do you have some connection to racing in the real world?
I sadly do not. No, iRacing is the only thing I do. I just started about 10 months ago, and I haven't looked back since.
And what brought you to the U.S. Racing League? What made you come in here and run to this bunch?
My buddy Mark Beer admitting. He invited me back over, and it's been a blast.
Well, you had a good run tonight, man. It was really good to talk to you. I'm going to hop off here, and we'll see if Nathaniel Spomer has his radio on. Can you hear me? You go by Nate or Nathaniel?
Either or works. Nate's fine.
So you finished up second tonight. You were quick last week at IRP. What was the secret tonight? What did you have to do to get to the second spot?
Well, I was debating on taking tires after that first race. that I got involved with. I just had some tire damage, but I decided to stay out and try and push it through. But luckily that final caution came around, and I just got lucky that I didn't use my tires.
And was the Highline working pretty well for you? I thought I saw you go by on the outside. It looked like that Highline was working well. What's the secret up there?
Yeah, I mean, the Highline was pretty good. Just kind of coast into the corners and not driving in too hard. That's pretty much about it.
And do you have any connection to racing outside of iRacing? What's your connection to racing, if you have any?
I don't have any specific connections. I just have a couple of friends that race at Colorado National Speedway. That's the hometown track, so I just go out there and watch him race, and that's pretty much about it.
That's up in Dacono. Give him a shout out. Who do you watch up there?
I watch Travis Rowe and his dad as well that race out there. So shout out to them for putting on a good show every time we were out there too.
Yeah, Travis and Tommy, right? Tommy's his dad?
It is, yes, yeah.
And what brought you into the U.S. Racing League? How did you get connected with this bunch?
Well, I just was racing about a year and a half ago in some legend races because they're my favorite class to watch out there as well. And then I reached out to Keegan because he had a league, and he got me in here, and the rest is history. He's been teaching me a lot. Keegan's a great driver, and he brought me onto his team last season. So shout out to Keegan Sabilo Racing Esports as well for providing me the tools to succeed and bring home some wins, hopefully.
Great, Nate. Well, thanks for talking to us. And speaking of Keegan, hey, Keegan, can you hear me?
What's going on, Aaron?
Hey, nice win today. Good job getting past me there at the end. I was a sitting duck on old tires, just hoping I could stay up front. Going by on the Highline, was it nerve-wracking?
Yeah, it definitely scared me. I didn't think I was going to be able to get as big of a run as I did. I thought I was going to kind of get trapped behind, but when the hole just kind of opened, I was able to kind of zoom by on the outside. Definitely, we ran 60 laps on the tires were worn out. So definitely the newer tires played a big difference here, as everyone, all the viewers saw there. But definitely, I give you a pat on the back there for definitely trying out that strategy, man. It almost worked for you.
So when you decided to go in, it's a green-white checkered. You know it's going to be a two-lap race. You go in, you see a couple of drivers stay out. What are you thinking?
You know, I will say I was definitely nervous when I saw that yellow because I had about a 3-second lead. And I was just telling myself, keep it on the track, keep it on the track, keep it on the track, and I'll be able to still win this thing. And then I saw the caution flag come up on my screen. I'm like, oh, boy, this is about to get interesting. So I came in, brought it in, put some new Goodyear tires on here, and I saw a few guys stay out. I was kind of nervous, but I was kind of excited because I knew that I had one car in front of me on the outside and there was two in the bottom, trapping the bottom and more, where I could go to the outside and make a move. But I was also nervous too, because it could get 3 wide up there, between the guys that are on older tires and when they're racing out, and anything can happen in racing at all times.
Well, these little cars get a little bit evil when the tires get older. Were you on lap 60? Were you tight? Were you loose? Were you about right? You said you were just hanging on. What did it feel like?
It was definitely tight. The front end was plowing tight. It was very hard to turn. I was probably about almost a second off my lap times already. It's down to tire saving sometimes in these cars, like when we got a long green flag run on such a abrasive racetrack like we had here tonight. You got to be really good at tire saving, and that's kind of what I was thinking was going to end up winning it, because I thought we were going to be able to go to the green, and I definitely didn't think I would have the best chance to be standing here tonight, because I know I'm not that great at tire saving.
All right, so tell me a little bit about Keegan Sabilo Esports. What is Keegan Sabilo Esports? What do you guys do?
So I started up this team when I started up the league, and it's something where I like to kind of coaching drivers. I saw there's these people out there that don't get enough credit, respectful, a little about racing. They want to learn, and they just need the right guidance. For example, Nate
Nate, I started working with a couple seasons back, all the way back around August. He's been doing really well, made a lot of improvements. If you've also seen Jared Epker had a strong third-place finish last week at IRP, I've also been able to help him claim a few victories of his own. It's definitely, I get asked this a lot, why is it so meaningful to me when other people win races? Those team drivers, when they win races, when they finally get over that hurdle that they've always wanted to get over, it makes me feel special when I've been able to be a part of that, just even if it's just a small part.
All right, last question for you would be the same question I asked the other guys. What is your connection to racing in the real world? Do you race? Do you have a local track? What is it that you do outside of iRacing that's also connected to racing?
So my connection with racing is I've been a huge NASCAR fan since I'm now 14. I've been a huge NASCAR fan since the age of 6 years old when I was watching at my grandparents' house and everything. And at 8 years old, I hopped behind a wheel of a mini cup and had a blast. It took a few years for me to finally quick, and I eventually ended up winning a championship in mini cups back in 2019, a couple of Young Guns championships and a race win. I moved up in 2020 to the CRA Junior Late Models and raced a full-size late model stock car on quarter miles and was able to claim Rookie of the Year and won a couple races in my time there as well. And this upcoming season, I'm going to be doing the CRA Sportsman Series, which has got a lot faster car, 6,400 RPM, 604 crate motor. It's a CRA, the traveling series, will be all over Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan.
Well, outstanding. Hey, Keegan, Nate, Riley, congratulations tonight on your top 3 finishes. Keegan, a good win. It was always a blast to talk to you guys, and great to race with you. A lot of good racing tonight, a lot of good drivers, strong field. The U.S. Racing League, if you're listening to this and you're interested, reach out to the Johnson iRacing team on Facebook. We can connect you to Keegan, or look up Keegan Sabilo Esports on Facebook, and we can help you become a part of this fantastic league.
Thank you guys for broadcasting this, Aaron. Thank you to all the drivers that are coming out, and definitely put on a show tonight. So thank you, everyone, and thanks to all the viewers here that are tuning in.
Keegan Sabilo takes home the win. Nate Spomer second. Riley Fiddler-Hadesbeck third. Aaron Johnson will come home fourth with Blake Crane fifth. Cotterman in the sixth spot. Fisher seventh. John Jones in eighth, and Jared Epker rounding out in the ninth spot. Those 9 cars on the lead lap. 1 lap down in 10th was Riley Goodwin with Jim Love in 11th and Mike Matherly in 12th. Both Love and Matherly a lap down. Then Gillick, Crane, Nuttall, Herzing, and Stephen Light. That should shake up the points battle. After tonight, Keegan Sabilo will take the lead in the points battle. Aaron Johnson hops up 2 spots into second. Spomer jumping 7 spots into third, with Epker dropping 1 to fourth, and Donald Fisher into the 5th spot. Fish, as he is affectionately known, rounding out the top 5. Cotterman moves up 2 to 6. Matherly hangs on in the 7th spot. Jim Love in 8th. Blake Crane jumping 6 spots to 9th, and Brandon Herzing rounding out the top 10. That's going to do it from North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. For the Johnson iRacing team on the Johnson iRacing Network, this is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.